So you want to live in Dubai. Before you start packing, let's talk about what that headline actually means once you factor in everything else. Because Dubai doesn't tax your income, but it finds plenty of other ways to collect. Here's the part that's genuinely true. The UAE charges no personal income tax at all, on any salary, at any level. Your gross pay and your net pay are the same number. But that's only one piece of the picture. Dubai charges a 5% VAT on most goods and services, a 9% corporate tax on business profits above 375,000 dirhams for anyone running a company here, and a 5% municipality housing fee calculated on your annual rent, quietly added to your utility bill every single month. None of these come close to a Western income tax bill, but zero income tax and zero tax are two very different sentences, and Dubai's marketing leans hard on people not noticing the difference. Restaurants, shopping, entertainment, most professional services, all of it carries that 5% VAT, which for a typical expat household can add 1,500 to 3,000 dirhams a month once you account for how much daily life here runs through paid services rather than home cooking and DIY. Now here's the cost that catches almost every newcomer completely off guard. How rent actually works here. Dubai landlords expect the entire year's rent up front, paid in 1 to 4 post-dated checks, handed over the day you sign the lease. If you're paying in a single check, that means having the full year's rent sitting in your bank account before you've spent a single night in the apartment, anywhere from 60,000 to 140,000 dirhams depending on the building. On top of that, add a 5% security deposit, and, if you used a broker, another 5% agency commission. A 220 dirham Ejari registration fee. This is the single most common financial shock for people moving to Dubai, and it's rarely mentioned in the glossy relocation content that sells the zero-tax dream. Utilities carry their own surprise. DEWA, the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, bills that same 5% municipality housing fee directly into your monthly statement, so it never feels like a separate tax at all. It just quietly inflates your utility bill. A one-bedroom apartment typically runs 500 to 900 dirhams a month in electricity and water, climbing to 900 to 1,500 for a larger unit. But that's a winter number. Air conditioning runs almost year-round here, and summer bills routinely run 40 to 60% higher than winter ones on the exact same apartment, sometimes doubling outright between June and September. Some buildings also charge separate chiller fees for district cooling, adding another 500 to 1,000 dirhams a month, specifically during the hottest stretch of the year. If you're moving with children, school fees are where the real budget gets tested. Private school tuition in Dubai ranges from around 12,500 to 150,000 dirhams a year per child, depending entirely on curriculum and institution. There is no public school option for expats, full stop. And the sticker tuition price is rarely the real number. Registration fees, uniforms, activity fees, and transport routinely add another 15 to 20% on top, meaning a school advertised at 40,000 dirhams a year can genuinely cost a family closer to 54,000 once everything is accounted for. For most expat families, this single line item ends up being the biggest financial variable in the entire move, bigger than rent, bigger than the tax savings that brought them here in the first place. Healthcare adds another mandatory layer. UAE law requires every resident to carry health insurance, and there's no getting around it. Basic coverage for an individual runs 5,000 to 8,000 dirhams a year. More comprehensive plans run 10,000 to 15,000. For a family of 4, budget 30,000 to 50,000 dirhams annually. Employers typically cover a base policy, but that base tier often excludes dental, maternity, or specialist care, meaning most families end up paying for a meaningful top-up out of pocket, regardless of what their employer technically provides. Transportation adds its own quiet tax. Dubai's public transit doesn't reach most residential areas, so a car is functionally mandatory for most residents, not optional. Salik, the toll system, charges 4 to 5 dirhams per gate, and with 2 new toll gates added in January 2026 alone, commuters now routinely pay 200 to 600 dirhams a month just in tolls, on top of fuel, insurance, and the car payment itself. Petrol remains cheap by Western standards, around 2.82 dirhams a liter, but that's small comfort once tolls, parking, and insurance are added to the picture. One quirk of Dubai life that surprises almost every Western newcomer: domestic help is genuinely affordable and widely used, which changes the whole cost equation in an unexpected direction. A full-time live-in housekeeper typically costs 2,000 to 3,500 dirhams a month, plus the cost of their visa, insurance, and annual flights home. A service that would be a luxury most Western families simply couldn't budget for. But here, it's common enough that a meaningful share of the "how does anyone afford Dubai?" question gets answered by exactly this trade-off. No income tax, spent partly on help that frees up dual-income households to work longer hours without the childcare math falling apart. Here's what almost nobody puts in the relocation guides: the landing capital you need before your first paycheck even arrives. A family relocating to Dubai typically needs 60,000 to 100,000 dirhams in cash on hand before day one, covering temporary accommodation, the security deposit, DEWA setup deposits, school registration fees, furniture, and visa processing. Single expats need roughly half that. Underestimating this landing cost is, according to relocation specialists, the single most common cause of high-interest credit card debt in a new arrival's first year, with UAE bank rates on that debt running 30 to 40% APR. A brutal irony for a country selling itself on tax-free wealth building. Location changes the math dramatically, the same way it does in every city we've covered. International City, Discovery Gardens, and Deira offer the most affordable rents in the city, with studios starting from 25,000 to 35,000 dirhams a year. Downtown Dubai and Dubai Marina sit at a completely different tier, with studios starting from roughly $21,000 a year and 2 bedrooms exceeding 49,000. Palm Jumeirah pushes further still, with even a 1-bedroom starting around $32,600 annually. The difference between a 1-bedroom in International City and a 1-bedroom in downtown Dubai can run over 65,000 dirhams a year, making the choice of neighborhood the single largest financial decision most residents make here, more consequential than almost any other line item in this video. Now let's talk about the Golden Visa, because it's genuinely one of the more accessible, long-term residency programs among the countries we've covered. Launched in 2019, it offers 5 to 10 years of residency, automatically renewable, through several distinct paths. A property investment of at least 2 million dirhams, a salaried role paying at least 30,000 dirhams a month with a relevant degree, or recognition as a scientist, top student, exceptional creative, or humanitarian worker. Unlike Panama's Pensionado program, which specifically targets modest retirees, or Italy's 2-tier system split between small-town retirees and the ultra-wealthy, Dubai's Golden Visa genuinely spans a wide range of income levels and professional backgrounds, which is part of why the city has absorbed more than 400,000 new expatriates since the pandemic, pushing its population past 3.85 million, with roughly 87% of residents now foreign-born. That population growth is exactly why prices keep climbing. Rents in prime areas have risen 18 to 22% annually since 2023, and 2026 data shows the RERA rental index, the government's official rent tracking system, rising 8 to 14% in popular family areas like Dubai Hills and JVC alone. Dubai does cap how much a landlord can raise rent at renewal, but the cap only applies meaningfully if your current rent already sits well below market rate. If you're already paying market price, landlords can legally raise it by 0% 1 year and reset entirely the next lease cycle. The city's own success at attracting residents is quietly driving up the cost of living for everyone already here. Now, here's the part most cost of living content skips entirely. What does serious wealth actually look like in Dubai? The city's ultra-luxury real estate has become a genuine global draw. Private islands off Palm Jumeirah, branded residences inside towers managed by international hotel groups, and villas in Emirates Hills that rival anything in Beverly Hills or Monaco. For business owners specifically, the 9% corporate tax, while low by global standards, has created an entire industry of tax structuring around free zones, where qualifying businesses can maintain a 0% rate on certain categories of income if they meet specific substance and activity requirements. A genuinely different wealth preservation mechanism than anything in our Greece, Italy, or Panama breakdowns, since it's built around business structuring rather than personal residency status alone. Wealthy residents also use the Golden Visa's property investment route, not just for residency, but as a genuine hedge. Dubai real estate carries zero capital gains tax and zero annual property tax, making it one of the more tax-efficient places on earth to simply hold wealth in real estate rather than actively generate income from it. The city's growing private aviation and superyacht culture, anchored around Dubai Marina and the Palm, has turned wealth display itself into a visible part of the local economy, with luxury service industries, from private chefs to yacht crews to personal security, employing a meaningful share of the city's ultra-high net worth support staff. Let's run the real math. A single professional earning 15,000 dirhams a month keeps the entire amount, no income tax withheld at all, but after rent in a mid-tier area, DEWA, insurance, and everyday costs, realistically nets out to comfortable but not dramatically wealthy living, roughly comparable to a much higher salary in a heavily taxed Western city. A family earning a combined 30,000 dirhams a month, with 2 children in a mid-range private school, can easily find that school fees alone consume 6,000 to 9,000 dirhams monthly, meaningfully narrowing the tax-free advantage that brought them here in the first place. And a wealthy investor moving several million dirhams into Palm Jumeirah property under the Golden Visa program pays zero capital gains tax, zero annual property tax, and secures a decade of residency. For this profile, Dubai's pitch isn't just true, it's genuinely one of the best deals on the planet. So does living in Dubai actually work economically?